the great teacher, Thang Timbikame, he says that all the sufferings that we see in this place called samsara are harms that the enemy self-grasping child. He says, therefore, my child, every adopts to uproot this self-grasping mind. So that, as I said, is one of the most important tasks. But then he goes on saying, you realize this very subtle and profound meaning. It's important that you understand the very gross nature of impermanence in the nature of suffering. So there are stages by which you should proceed in. It is not enough, the teaching is profound. It's important that the mind who wants to understand this, prepared in the sense it should engage in a systematic process of practice. Just as if you look at the nature, the trees don't grow in one night. It grows step by step. Even in terms of construction of your house, it has to go floor by floor. Even if you do it with machine very quickly, but still it has to be done floor by floor. Even when you go to the top by step. So this is the law of nature. If you hope to get some beautiful flowers from a plant, and you plant some seedlings, then you, because of your anxiety to see the flower, if you pull it, when we were small kids, we used to do that. We plant something, then we can't wait. We are so anxious, so we pull it and see what's happening in the root. And then of course you destroy. So therefore, if you look at this, some of these important Buddhist texts, like stages of the path to enlightenment. See the title, stages. Stages of meditation by Kamala Shila. Stages. Stage by stage. There's no enlightenment. There is no instant enlightenment like instant coffee, no. I wish we have that, but it is not there. So it will take time. One, it's in accordance with the law of nature. Second, if we look at our mind is strongly entrenched in negative ways of living and thinking, so forth. So it takes time to change it, but you can change it. You can change it. Shantikara says, there is nothing that does not become easier when your mind becomes familiar with it. Nothing. Even your enemy, let's say your sworn enemy, not only you like to see him, but his name also you don't like to hear. And you used to fear just hearing the name, But because of the changes of the situation and circumstances, if that enemy that you used to fear terribly happens to be your next door neighbor, it will change the situation. Then for the past few months or years or days, of course you will see him again, but you will always try to, if he's coming, this way, that way, you try to avoid, you see. But how long you are going to avoid? So sometimes you happen to just meet. But then you decide not to smile and you just maintain a straight face and go. But then sometimes, you meet as a human being, then sometimes you feel like little bit, not much. Then you meet again and again a little bit. Then you start talking. The enemy that you used to fear. Then very soon you become so close that you can't live without this person. It happens. It happens. And then the so-called dear brother, sister, husband, wife used to swear, where you used to swear that I will die for you, you will die for me. But with the change of time, this same person which you used to love so much will become your enemy. It's called uncertainty, as we read earlier. There's no certainty in terms of this changing nature of friends and enemies. The changing of friends and relatives is like the clouds in the summer. So therefore, what we need to do is to of emptiness, of course. But as I was saying, that even though that emptiness is profound, but not easy to understand. So therefore, it has to be done stage by stage. That's first you understand, first you understand impermanent suffering and so forth. Impermanence also, there are grosser level. From the grosser level. So that's what he is advising. Now, with regard to this understanding even of the grosser level of impermanent suffering, he says, whether you are understanding that or not, you should examine and judge by yourself. We have all seen death of people. We have seen young people die, children die. We have seen old people die. With many factors, people die. And we have seen it. But have you ever developed this idea that I will also die? I mean, with intense conviction. When your very close friend, relative, children dies, you feel concerned, you cry, you complain. Also, you feel a little bit touched, develop some fear. But then, after some time again, you continue the same way of life. Dies, be very sad, lonely for a few days, or few years, few months in some cases. Some cases, few years. And after that, you meet a new man, get married, and then again the same high who. So there's our way of life, the samsaric way of life. Not learning a bit. So therefore now he's asking, so how will you understand this subtleness? How will you understand the subtle impermanence, subtle suffering? When it is difficult for you to digest the grosser level of changes which you are seeing, the death of young people, old people, which you actually see, grosser impermanence, houses collapsing, what happened in Nepal recently, earthquake. Now with television, more or less we are seeing it. Then here also, of course, on and off, you see a lot of such things. But you will not develop this thinking that I will die. So how can you, then he says, how can you then develop the higher spiritual paths? Because in order to develop the higher spiritual paths, there should be an impotence. There should be a mechanism which will encourage you to do those practices. The mechanism is, as I said, there's the realization of the impermanent suffering and so forth, through which you will make a move. And when you don't have this understanding, when all you are doing is to planning to continuously stay in the samsara, where to buy a new house, where to buy a new car, who to marry, when that is your planning, then where is your planning for liberation, for enlightenment? I mean, it's very, very apt remark. For the ordinary worldly existence, we make no lot of planning, do a lot of hard work. But for the spiritual practice, in a year, when the Dharma friend organizes a teaching, you will come probably. Some of you will come. Then after that, I'm not saying everybody, but after that, most of us not able to do any practice. No planning, no personal initiative, effort. So how can we bring about that great transformation? How can we fulfill that great aspiration for long-lasting peace and happiness? So therefore, the text is saying one has to make some effort. Therefore, the text is saying, therefore, from impermanence, you understand suffering. From understanding suffering, then you understand emptiness and so on. Which means that when we talk about impermanence, we are not talking about impermanence in general. We are, in this case, primarily talking about the impermanence of one's own life, the changing nature of the psychophysical aggregate. This impermanence of the psychophysical aggregate of the self is not simply caused by a cause and condition, but the cause and condition is afflictive emotion and karma. Therefore, you are changing. That means, therefore, you will suffer, of course. So, therefore, from understanding impermanence, you will understand suffering. That's the meaning. By understanding suffering, you will understand selflessness. Meaning that when you suffer carefully, analyze carefully, who is this person that is suffering? Where is the self that is suffering? If you analyze carefully, conventionally, of course, you can say, I'm suffering. But if you analyze carefully, then you will not find a self which has existence. So that's how you, through a proper understanding of suffering, will properly understand selflessness. So that's the process. So therefore, the other day I said that the Buddha started his teaching from impermanence, ended his teaching by the teaching on impermanence. So, and then he says, not only, but there's a beautiful composition. Okay, let us not go too much into it. So the third noble truth is the truth of the suffering, which I have. The truth of the cessation, which basically means the freedom from the bondage of this psychophysical aggregate. Because this ordinary psychophysical aggregate is under the bondage of the afflictive emotions and contaminated actions. When you put an end to that afflictive emotion and the contaminated actions, then you are free from that imprisonment, that bondage. So that state is called cessation of suffering. That is called nirvana, total freedom. Because when you put a complete end to the afflictive emotions and their seeds, then that state of happiness will be permanent state of happiness. Okay. That is the third of the wonderful truths. The last one is called the truth of the path of the wonderful truth. The truth of the path, now the cessation of afflictive emotions and suffering is possible. Just as suffering is possible because there is a cause and condition. So similarly, the true cessation or the permanent state of happiness is possible because there is a cause for that. That's what he's saying. There is a cause for that. And the cause is called the true path. So that true path involves now the whole Buddhist virtuous practices. But here we can today explain a little bit about the truth of the path in the sense of the three trainings. Training of morality, training of unpointed meditation, and the training of the wisdom. So that's the path. Now that means you will recall clearly that the enemy to whom we have to fight is afflictive emotions. Never forget this one. Now when you fight with your negative afflictive emotions, you need to plan. You need to do it systematically when you fight the enemy. From where the enemy will come, what direction it will come, how strong the force of the enemy is. You need to send spies, get all the information. So similarly, when we fight the negative emotions also, one, we need to know how strong the negative emotions are. Which of the negative emotions are more, strong? In your case, of course, you are talking about personal purification. So by which we fight these negative emotions are the three: morality, one-pointed meditation or concentration, and wisdom, understanding Shuddha. In other words, in order to develop those higher qualities, first you should try to get rid of the mental turbulences. For example, if you're very angry, then can you concentrate? Can you meditate? No. So, or when you have excessive attachment, can you meditate? No. So that means when your mind is turbulent with all kinds of afflictive emotions, you cannot meditate. Now meditate for concentration, not a holy term, not a sacred term. It is something all of us have the capacity to do. So your mind is like disturbed, agitated, you can't concentrate. So what you need to do first of all is to calm the mind. To calm the mind. Like just like the way you plant things in the field. Not anything, you need to prepare the land, make it even. If the field itself is like uneven and full of broken glasses and rocks, papers and old clothes, you can't plant any seed there. Or even if you plant, it will not grow properly. I had one Tibetan friend who went to study agriculture in Japan. So when he came back, we were one day like talking, checking. So he said, in Japan we don't have crooked turnips. Turnips, you turnip, the vegetable turnip, or radish, a radish or turnip, similar. So we don't have crooked. We have those many in India. So I said, what do you mean? It can be straight, it can be crooked, it is how it grows. No. Whether it's crooked or straight depends upon how you prepare the soil. So in Japan, they prepare it such a way that they all grow straight. Which means you save a lot of money because packing, you see. You have to pack. So they're all straight, Similarly in Japan, carrot, similar. There's a similar. So you have crooked carrots here? No. Straight, see? Most of the time, maybe. Sometimes crooked. So you can find that out and tell me. Send me an email. Then I also later on heard in a news, paper that the Japanese, they've started growing this watermelon square.
Yeah, it's better to.
So it's easy to pack.
Easy to pack, not round, It's very difficult. So with modern technology, you can do many good things also, you see. So what I'm saying was, in order to get this kind of really good things, you need to prepare the soil.
Yeah, so we can make the.
It's so similar in your mind. To grow many of these positive qualities. First, you have to calm the mind, prepare the mind.
Prepare the mind like this.
Exactly, prepare the mind. So therefore, this morality, the Hindi or Sanskrit word for morality is called shil. Shil. Shil means coolness. Yeah, shil means cool. Coolness. Cool.
Shil.
Shil is Sanskrit word.
Shil. S-H-I-L.
Yeah.
She said like English chill. Chilling,
Yeah. Shil. Yeah. Shil. People write shila, but the exact word is shil. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now the English translation for that is called cool or coolness, because shil and morality means three things. Three things. In English, we sometimes use morality, sometimes use discipline, sometimes use ethical discipline, whatever. But it basically means, shil means, it's not the Buddhist meaning of morality and discipline. It's not talking about observing a discipline that is unwillingly imposed upon you by an external force. Okay, if somebody with a threat of a gun says, do this, sit like this, you sit there because you are scared.
We have to.
You have to, not like that. Buddhist discipline, number one, means doing something voluntarily, doing something proper voluntarily, because you see the benefit of it. So therefore, kill basically a way of life. For example, if you kill, it's not proper way of life. If you save the life, it's proper way of life. Kill. So it basically means, kill means three things. Now, if you have this book by His Holiness, Ethics for the New Millennium, there's a chapter there which explains this very beautifully. So anyway, Shil means three things. One, morality. One, in the sense of stopping or restraining and stopping doing the bad deeds. Okay. Stopping doing bad. That's morality, number one. Okay. for your own goodness. So there is a good. Not doing anything bad, that is wonderful, good. But is that enough?
No. To the good.
To the good also, exactly. So the second morality is collecting the virtuous qualities,
Collecting, huh?
collecting the qualities, positive qualities. So it is very good, but is that enough? Huh? Now tell me.
No, the
You have
three.
to
You said
live them.
three.
Huh?
You have to live them.
Walk your talk.
Walk your talk.
Yeah.
Very close, but not exact. Not exact. Somebody said, I can eat through my nose. Somebody said, I can eat through my nose.
So,
Then he said, what do you mean? He said, not exactly, but very close.
You know what?
So you can eat through the mouth, which is very close to the nose. So like that, you are very close, but not exactly. Also, stopping doing bad things, doing good things is
Practice.
to help others, to benefit others.
How do you get virtuous if you're not helping another? I mean,
Uh,
it's all the same almost, isn't it? No.
like, for example, if you cultivate compassion, wisdom, and so forth, not necessarily helping others. You're preparing to help others.
The
The
second,
qualities.
second is also by through reading sutras. And
Yeah, so many things. So many. Cultivating bodhicitta, going around the temple, whatever, so many things. So third is the morality of helping other sentient beings. Now you can see the meaning of the word shila, which means cool. That means if you have lived a life where you stopped doing bad things, where you have started doing good things, where you have been helping other sentient beings, then you are free from any regret. There's nothing to regret, nothing to hide. Therefore, your mind will be cool. Your mind will be cool because nothing will torment you because you lived such a good way of life. There's nothing to hide, nothing to regret. Contrarily, if you had lived a bad life, where you say something, do other thing, if you lead a life of publicity, then other people may know, may not know, but there will be tension in your mind. There will be heat in your mind. There will be no coolness. So that is preparing preparing the ground. Now you can clearly see when your mind is cool, then you can plant seeds and saplings and plants and so forth. So similarly, when your mind is cool, then you can concentrate. The second of the three precepts. Then you can concentrate. Concentration is important, very important, because, as I said earlier, that when your life is in threat, in danger, then concentration is important, isn't that? So similarly, now we have spoken about so many of these difficulties, sufferings. So your life is in threat. You see, there's danger, afflictive emotions. More importantly, afflictive emotions. The enemies are there within you. Your headquarters is already occupied. Therefore, now this is not the time to relax. You need to concentrate. Clear? Concentrate. One, in dealing with the negative emotions. You need to concentrate. Concentrate means bringing the energy of the mind together. Just like if you need to water the field, if you just scatter the water, the source of the water into different directions, then the water will have no capacity to make a long journey. It will just disappear into the land. So therefore, you need to make special drainage. So the force of the water is really going there, and then take the water to the desired places. That's what we do when we do farming, irrigation. So similarly, you have two very important tasks now. One important task is to get rid of these afflictive emotions, which is really destroying you. So you need to concentrate. And then secondly, you need to develop all these positive qualities, which will not come easily. So you need to concentrate. Just like the laser beam. The laser beam. If the light from the laser beam is diffused, it will have not much power. But if you bring the concentration of the light together, then the light from the laser beam will be so strong that it can cut through the glasses. See? So like that. So concentration is not only important in the Buddhist practice, but whatever you are doing. Now these days, people in general, and especially young people, they say that young people today suffer from attention deficiency. They're not able to focus on anything for a long time. Their mind is so distracted. And we proudly call that distraction multitasking. So they are very good in doing so many things together, But concentration is not there. Distraction is there. Distraction. The Buddha clearly says that if your mind is distracted and there's no concentration, you will achieve nothing. Like, be it our Dharma study, be it any other, education or work. Because we don't concentrate, number one, we don't enjoy the work. Number two, we are not able to do it properly. Because whatever we are doing mostly with half-hearted attempt. You are doing it because you're getting money for that, you do it, but you're not enjoying it. Your mind is actually somewhere else. So you don't do the work properly. Even when you read a book, sometimes we keep on reading the book.
Yeah.
Second page, third page, 100 page, 200 page. You finish the book, close the book. A very nice book. In what sense it is nice? Nothing to say. It happens with all of us. Because clearly showing there's no concentration. Then with regard to the books, although there's some scholars, they advise, I think this is a good advice, that if you pick up a book and read, say, the first chapter, don't get anything. Read the second chapter, don't get anything. Then probably it's better not to read that book. When somebody who starts reading from the first page, thinking that you have to finish that book, although you're not getting anything, that means you're stupid. I think there's an element of truth there, you see. So therefore, just like knowing the people, when you read a text, what I suggest you to do is, first of all, you read this title, Words of Manjushri, by the fifth Dalai Lama. At least you know one thing. This is a book by the fifth Dalai Lama. Many people don't know. They finish the whole book. Then who wrote it? Oh, somebody, I forgot the name, that we all do, you see. So therefore, it's important to first know the title. Then the index. Index is the face of the mind, as we say. Index. The index itself will tell you what is there in the book. Then if you don't like to read from the first to the last, then at least read those, chapters which you think is interesting. And then see what is there. So therefore, in order to develop that concentration, there should be some kind of liking towards that object. You cannot force your mind. Concentrate. No. How will you concentrate if you don't like it, if the mind is rejecting? So you need to concentrate. With appreciation. And how would you develop unless you see the project in hand as very important? Is extremely important. And be much better. You're going to achieve more of that physical health. You're going to achieve all that mental health. People will start like more and more friends you will get. The outcome, see. Then you will realize this is a very important thing that I do. And this state of happiness that I'm going to do through this practice, I cannot buy even with money. When you have that kind of understanding, then you will do the job. Then you will do the job. Then like cultivating bodhicitta, my goodness. Once in many lifetimes. How many billions of people are here today? How many people have heard about this word bodhicitta? Forget about understanding the meaning or practicing it. Not even heard about such practice. So we are fortunate. I'm not just saying it because of it. If you think carefully, I'll tell you a story. A few years back, one of my Tibetan friends who is a parliament, but who lives in Norway. So she one day called me, Geshe, are you in Dharamsala? I said, yes, I'm in Dharamsala. There are two young Danish, journalists who wants to come to Dharamsala and interview you during the visit. I said, okay. So these two young journalists, they came, interviewed me, asking different questions. So I answered those questions in accordance with my little knowledge of Buddhism and whatever. I said things like that. You know what these two young girls are doing? They were looking at each other. I'm not exaggerating or saying anything more than what they said. They looked at each other and they were talking to themselves by saying, amazing, totally different way of thinking. Really? I said, amazing, totally different way of thinking. That's what I'm saying. People don't even think those things. If you are not taught, how can you know these things? That's why I'm saying lucky. So we should not be like a blind man who happens to have his feet touch the gold, lump of gold. Because he's blind, that not knowing this is gold, he gives another kick and goes away. So having found such a precious teaching, you don't appreciate it. And just leave it, It happens. I've seen a number of people also like who in the beginning get very excited and come to those, teachings and practices, and then later on these people are nowhere to be seen. It happens. So it's important that one should sustain this, practice and make continuous effort. So that's why now you can see concentration is so important. For example, in the case of the shamat and Bilbao, the shamat has been translated. Actually, it is a literal translation. I think probably done by Professor. So he translated shamat as calm abiding. This is actually a word by word literal translation of the Tibetan word. Shine. Shine. The Tibetan word is shine. 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 Shamat. Shine. Shine. So come abiding. He translated come abiding. The Tibetan word is shine, which is combination of two words. Shine. Now this is Tibetan language class right now. Good opportunity. Shine. I can easily see who is interested in Tibetan language. Chine. So she means calm, pacify. Pacify infested with all kind of thoughts that are coming in. So get rid of those thoughts. Pacify, quieten the mind. Get rid of these invasions of host of thoughts. Get rid of them. Pacify, purify them. Remove them. She means remove. And having removed these invasions of host of thoughts, nay means then stay. Stay on what? Stay on that chosen object. Calm your mind with the invasion of the host of thoughts, and then abide on the chosen object on which you want to concentrate. This is the meaning of Shine. Calm abiding. Shine. So therefore, you can now clearly see how important concentration is. However, just concentration alone is not enough. You also need to have wisdom. Now, in the case of this practice of one-pointed concentration, what you need to know is, when we talk about meditation, you need to know two things. One-pointed meditation, second, analytical meditation. So one-pointed meditation, as I was explaining, is concentration. Analytical meditation is the wisdom, where you analyze the different features of the object, the good qualities, the bad, and so forth. Now, out of the two, when you do that one-pointed meditation, I'm sure you are quite familiar with that, because you do a lot of meditation, or some meditation. So what you need to do is, first of all, choose an object. So normally, if you're Buddhist, then we encourage that you have the Buddha's image as the focal point. Okay? So first you study or the real image, whatever. You look at it carefully. Then without looking at the image, try to get a mental image, which is sometimes called reflection. Mental image of the picture. The image should be nicely done by a good sculptor or painter. Otherwise, you will feel uncomfortable with the appropriate nose or things like that. Or lopsided head or whatever. So choose a good, nicely done image or painting and look at it properly, and then try to get a mental picture. And then when you meditate not on the image that your eye has seen and your eye is looking, but the mental picture of that image. The mental picture of that image. Why? Z. In schools, we teach each other X, Y, Z. Somebody says Y, then we say Z. So I don't know why. One reason maybe because it has to be with you all the time, as much as possible. Even in the cases when you don't have the physical image, you are able to meditate. It has to come in your mind, I think.
So the mental thing that you take it's the same thing all the time that you meditate?
Now listen, I'm explaining. Wait a few minutes.
Okay.
So that mental image, when you do the meditation, the text is this. You should imagine that image at a distance where your full length prostration can touch. About that distance, not too close, not too far away. If you do a full length prostration, around that distance, imagine the image. Not too high like that, so that you feel like looking up. Not too low on the ground, but to the level of your mid eyebrow. To the level of your mid eyebrow. Then when you look at that mental image, now when you actually meditate, don't that image was a support as a help. But when you actually meditate, don't see that image as just an image, but imagine this as real Buddha, alive, smiling, radiating with light, real person. And also that image that you're imagining should not be too small or not too big, but slightly small, not so light that it is carried away by wind, a little bit heavy, and a little bit small. Not too small, but a little bit small. Too small, you may not be able to focus on it. Too big, also difficult. A little bit small and having a little bit weight and full of radiance and light. So now you let your mind remember only that, nothing else. Now the interesting thing. Now let us do this meditation and see what happens. Okay, 1 minute. So right now, if you have a Buddha's image, do that. Otherwise, whatever picture you think you can visualize, do that and see what does the mind do. Okay. Okay. What did you find? What did you find? Was it easy to let your mind stay just on the chosen object? Not easy. What happened? Someone else came? The sixth Dalai Lama said, the face of my teacher which I meditate don't come in my mind, but the face of my girlfriend which I don't meditate comes in my mind. Is that true? Something like that. Something like that. But still what you need to do is, no, not you this time. Sorry. I'm meditating on the image of the Buddha. You need to tell this repeatedly. Then still not clear, look at the image. Then do that. And don't change the object quickly. Otherwise your concentration will be. So when you do that meditation, the physical, your hand should be here at the level of the navel. Right hand on the top, left hand on the underneath. Observing this triangular shape. That has the benefit of straightening your back also. And when you sit for meditation, don't become rigid. To straighten the back does not mean that you become uptight and rigid, Then it will even be difficult to breathe. Straight but relaxed. Your shoulders be on the equal level, not lopsided like this. Your head should not be either too in front or too back or too right or too left. Because if your head goes too much on the left, the text says it might induce attachment. I don't know how. If the head goes too much on the right, it will induce anger or hatred. If it goes too much backward, arrogance. I already explained this to you. Too much for ignorance, sleepiness, then you sleep. So it should be neither left or right or front or back, but slightly bent towards front side, but not too much bending. And the gaze of your eyes should towards the nose, not necessarily trying to see the nose. And His Holiness jokingly tells people that if you try to see the nose, then many foreigners, they will have no difficulty because they have a prominent nose. But then Asians have more difficulty. Many of them have flat nose, small nose. So anyway, it's not seeing the nose. Just gentle gaze towards the nose. And your eyes should not be widely open, but also probably not completely closed. Most of us, when we do the meditation, we close the eye. Because then, for the time being, it looks like you can concentrate better. Because if you open your eye, as soon as you open your eye, you see things and your mind goes there. But in that case, my theory is that in that case, you need to close your ear also. You see? Close your nose also. Then you have to close, the touch and so many things, So the recommended suggestion is that don't completely close it. And while the eye is still open, and still something is there in front of the eye, still make sure that your mind is not going after the eye, but rather the mind gains its own control of being able to reflect on that mental image that you have chosen. If you are able to do that, then you are achieving real success. Because meditation, one concentration is needed, not only during the meditative session, but I think in all places, in all areas. And in all these places, you cannot go on closing your eye. In your workplace, concentration is needed. But you cannot close your eye there. Even when you climb upstairs, you need concentration. Okay? But if you close your eye, you will have accidents. So therefore, and the legs, of course, cross-leg posture. And then your tongue touching the upper palate, so that saliva do not fall during your meditation. And also so that you do not get thirsty when you sit for a long meditation. But in the initial stage, that the Buddhist texts and teachers say that the meditation should be short and of good quality. Because in the beginning, if you force yourself too much, then next time you will not feel like sitting. If you see the meditation sitting, you feel like vomiting. So therefore, you should judge and see clearly the duration and session of your meditation. It should be not too long. And slowly, if you're getting used to that meditation, then you can prolong the session. Okay? So now when you in this way, having observed this posture, when you try to meditate on that chosen object, either the mind will be distracted, get excited, or the mind will sink. So mental sinking and distraction or excitement. These are the two major obstructions for your achieving concentration. If your mental excitement means as soon as you try to visualize that image, the mind is very soon forgets that image and starts thinking about the time when you had a picnic, when you had fun, when you met some of your friends. So people might think that he's doing meditation, but you are picnicking. You're having fun and going around in the marketplace. So the monkey mind is wondering. So at that time, you need to tell the mind, you need to know as a meditator that the mind is now excited and getting distracted. So you need to tell the mind, there's no need to get too excited. You're still in the samsara. There's no need for you to get too excited. You're still in the samsara. You're suffering. You're impermanent. Or something that will have a sobering effect on the mind. Then the excitement will come down and stay on the object. Now, in case that the mind becomes very dull, and then gradually it becomes more dull and it starts sinking, and the object is not at all clear, but you feel very peaceful, half sleep or whatever, you feel very peaceful. And that kind of meditation on sinking, not on the object, is actually said to be quite dangerous. Because if you pick up that habit of doing that meditation on that sinking state of the mind, then the sharpness of your mind will gradually be lost. And then you will become very dull and a very insensitive person. We do see such people who say that they have been meditating a lot, but very, very insensitive to needs of people, who doesn't have that sharpness and alertness of the mind, who really go around in meditation. Whereas if you do the proper meditation, it sharpens your mind. It is like bringing fresh air to the mind. You see? So therefore, if it is sinking down, then you need to again recognize it and do something that would cheer up the mind. Like, I'm so lucky, I'm not a dog, not a cow, human being. I'm so lucky I met this precious Dharma. I'm so lucky I met this precious teacher. I'm so lucky that all my sense faculties are intact. So think about these things so that there will be some upliftment of the sinking mind. Make the mind stay on the object. So the most important thing is to see whether that your mind is on the object or not by seeing that the mind is stable and the object's clarity is also there in the mind. The mind is stable and the object appears clearly to the mind. When it is there, then don't worry about uplifting it or bringing down the energy of the mind. Just let your mind stay there. And gradually, when you get habituated with this practice, then as Sanghawa says, that where the mind will become very serviceable. Mind will become very obedient. So obedient that if you ask the mind to stay on object, it will stay there like a mountain, not moving. If you ask the mind not to stay there on the object, but do something else, it will say, yes, sir. the mind becomes serviceable. Serviceable means you will be able to then use the mind in accordance with your wish. However, as I said earlier, one-pointed meditation, mind, however great it is, not enough. The Buddha at his time learned from many teachers the practice of one-pointed meditation. This one-pointed meditation is not unique to Buddhist practice. Many schools at that time, they used to do that practice. So Buddha learned from many existing great teachers about the process of one-pointed concentration, through which it was also possible for him to reach many higher levels. For example, the 4 levels of concentration, 4 absorptions, and so on. But he was clearly able to see that even though achieving that one-pointed concentration is really good now it is good. It gives you great feeling and things like that. But it will not necessarily eradicate, uproot the afflictive emotions. I think it was at the time of Buddha, there was a great meditator. Perhaps, I'm not so sure. Perhaps he was one of the Buddha's teacher at that time. His name is Udrak. I'm not so sure. Perhaps I'm saying, because in some of the texts, Buddha did explain about his one teacher called Udara. But then this name Udara comes in Kamalashila stages of meditation, quoting the sutra itself. So my guess is probably this teacher. This master Udarak has achieved such a strong level of concentration that he could concentrate on one object and stay there for, I don't know, many days and months probably. Completely lost into it. And he said that when you achieve such a state, there's so much peace. And then the text says that he stayed there in that deep concentration so long that his hairs grew long, going all the way down to the ground, but still oblivious. And the rats came and chewed off the end of the hair, still oblivious. But when he arose from that one-pointed meditation and saw that the ends of his hairs has been chewed off, chopped off by the rats, he became mad, he became angry. So you can see his concentration was good, but anger came back, afflictive emotions came back. So therefore, one day will fight. So this concentration, one-pointed concentrations can help, like loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, all these qualities, they help reduce the manifestation of afflictive emotions, but cannot deal with uprooting the afflictive emotions. So the one that would uproot the afflictive emotions is the wisdom, understanding, emptiness. So therefore we need the third practice, which is called wisdom, understanding, emptiness. About which my teacher used to explain these 3 trainings with example by saying that if somebody wants to cut a tree, then the person's overall health should be quite good. Physical health should be good, strong enough. Otherwise, he cannot cut the tree. So that's morality is like that. Morality is like that. Morality is the foundation for cultivating all qualities. So it is just like the overall health of the person who wants to cut the tree. Now, even if his overall health is good, but the hand that will pick up the axe, if that hand unfortunately is diseased and sick and very slender and thin and has not much power, then again you cannot cut the tree. Your overall health is good, but the hand is weak. This hand which is going to lift the axe is weak. So then you cannot, even if you try to hit, you will sometimes hit up, sometimes hit down. you will not be able to cut, or it will take a long time to cut the tree. So therefore, the hand should also be strong. Now, even if your overall health is good, the hand that picks up the axe is also strong, but the axe that you are using is blunt. Then doesn't really matter how many times you hit, it will be very difficult to cut the tree. So therefore, the axe which you are directly used in directly hitting the tree has to be sharp. Then you can easily cut that tree. So similarly, wisdom is like that sharp axe, which directly acts against the afflictive emotions. And the strong hand is concentration, where you are able to hit at one place, not just up, down like that. So then with regard to I should also explain this the four features of in the case of the four features of the true cessation. The four features are cessation, okay, cessation. First is cessation, second is peace, third is perfection, I think, and fourth is complete emergence. Complete emergence. So that means the true cessation. Cessation is called cessation because it is a state of having separated the sufferings. Sufferings have ceased. So therefore, it's called cessation. Or peaceful, because it is a state of separation or of afflictive emotions. If you have eliminated afflictive emotions, then you are in peace. It's called perfect because it is liberation. Liberation which is beneficial, which brings well-being and benefit. And it's called total definite emergence because from there now there will be no falling back. You have definitely came out from the samsara. Definite emergence. So that way you can understand also the meaning of true cessation. In the case of the path, for example, the wisdom that directly realizes selflessness, it also has four features. The first feature is that it comes in the aspect of the path, because it's a path to liberation. So therefore it is called path to liberation, path to nirvana. It's called proper aspect, or suitable aspect. It's called suitable and proper because it is the direct antidote to afflictive emotions, which is very proper, which is logical or reasonable. It is called achievement. It's called achievement because it's a wisdom that sees the ultimate nature of the mind. It's called definite emergence. Definite emergence, emerge out, come out.
We already have the definite emergence.
You already had?
Oh,
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, the term seems quite similar. So anyway, listen to this definition. This is called definite emergence because it is
They are
state.
only emergent. First
Yes,
it's only
yes. I know, but they're both are quite similar. Both are quite similar because in the case of the true cessation, it is called definite emergence because there will be no falling back again. You've achieved the ultimate cessation. In the path, in the case of the path, it's called uh, how should I use it as verb? One that it is something like one that will make you definitely emerge out, something like that. It's the path, because this path will act as an antidote, so that you will reach that level. You will reach that level where there will be no falling back. Okay, the path and the fruit, almost like the path and the fruit. Now, why this text is they explain these four features. In each of the Four Noble Truths. Because, now this is important. So it's almost like going back, but there are 16, there are 16 misconceptions about each of the paths. There are 4 misconceptions, so total of 16 misconceptions. So to remove these 16 misconceptions, the 16 features of the Four Noble Truths are being explained. Okay, I've explained the 4 aspects of each of the Four Noble Truths because there are 16 misperceptions. For example, in the case of the truth of the suffering, we have the misperception. This I explained earlier. We have perception of that it's peace, that it's permanent, that it is self-existing. So as an antidote, we explained that it's suffering, impermanent, and so on. So these are the 4 misperceptions with regard to the truth of the suffering, with suffering. The origin of suffering, there are again 4 misperceptions. For example, the first misperception that the sufferings have no cause. Sufferings have no cause. So therefore, we explained that the first feature of the origin of suffering that there is a cause. And then second misperception is that there is the sufferings arise from dissimilar causes, inconcordant causes, dissimilar causes. So then answer to this is, what was the answer to that?
intense burden? No,
Sacrifice.
thorough origination.
Yeah, thorough origination. Thorough origination means that it is dependent on many causes and conditions, favorable causes and conditions, proper causes and conditions, not just dissimilar causes and conditions. Yeah. Then with the third, that they are produced by just one cause. They are produced by just one cause. So answer to this is, they are produced
Intense.
intensely, thoroughly, by depending on many causes and conditions. Then the next, that they are caused by a creator like Ishvara, creating everything, and then everything came into being, according to the planning of a creator God. So this is answered by saying that they are produced by cooperative conditions. Right? Cooperative conditions, meaning that there are causes and conditions for that. It's not created by a creator. Then in the case of the misconceptions with the true cessation, the first misconception is that there is nothing called liberation. This is answered by saying that there is true cessation. It is possible to reach that level of state of cessation because you can completely put an end to the suffering. Therefore, you can achieve that liberation. And then the second misconception is that when they talk about nirvana, they think that they talk about some features which is still contaminated, but still liberation. So there are some people, they present an idea where liberation is still contaminated. Okay. So this is answered by saying it is not contaminated because it is peaceful. Because it is a state of having thoroughly removed afflictive emotions. Then fourthly, say that it,
Thirdly?
third, oh yeah, third. And again, they say some of the features of suffering are perfect. Some of the features of the suffering are perfect. So this is answered by saying that it is perfect in the sense that once you achieve liberation, there will be total peace and happiness.
What is the wrong view?
Wrong view.
The third wrong view that is negated through the third aspect.
Wrong view is that some features, some qualities, having suffering are seen as perfect and liberation. Then answer is that if there is some feature of suffering, that it cannot be perfect. Feature is definite emergence, as we discussed earlier. That means once you achieve the liberation back. But the misconception is that they say that
That
you can put an end to the suffering, but after some time you will fall back. Then the four features, misperceptions with the path is that there's nothing called a path which will lead to liberation. There's no path which will lead to liberation. So this is countered by saying that yes, there is a path. The path is wisdom, realizing emptiness. And then the second misperception is getting habituated with selflessness or practicing selflessness cannot be a proper path. It is not proper to accept the practice of selflessness as the path. This is answered by saying this is very proper because it is the direct antidote to afflictive emotions. Then the third misconception is that there are some who accept some of the concentrations, some of the as the path to liberation, path to nirvana. Now this answer I don't know very well. Because the text says that it has the aspect of establishment or practice, because it is a wisdom that directly sees the ultimate nature of the mind. So this is properly saying that just by some kind of concentration you cannot achieve liberation, but you can achieve achievement. The third feature is achievement. You can achieve that by cultivating a wisdom that directly sees the very nature of the mind. So not just different levels of concentration. Then the fourth is the fourth misconception is to perceive, to say that there is no path which will completely put an end to suffering, so that from there is no falling back. Okay? So this is answered by saying that yes, there is a path which will lead you to the achievement of that definite emergence. Because it is the antidote. The wisdom understanding the ultimate nature of the mind is the antidote. So therefore there is a path which will put a complete end to the suffering. Okay, and some questions, then we finish. If you have some. Yes.
What is the difference between the definite emergence that is required as a precondition to enter the path? And here it is brought, it's a precondition to enter the path, renunciation or definite emergence.
Renunciation, yeah. No, that has to do with the problem of translation.
It's the same. Definite, it's not the same. Renunciation and definite emergence.
They may be using similar words. But sometimes, with the Tibetan word also, sometimes you give the name of the fruit to the cause. Because such a fruit, definite emergence is coming. So that path is giving the definite emergence. Therefore, for the cause also you give the name Ngenjung, which actually means something that will take you to that definite emergence. Yeah. Yes.
You taught us about getting rid of the fleeting emotions. And I have a question. Jetson Kappa in Lam says that first you have to get rid of the emotion. Now, my common sense would say that since it's difficult to get rid of the most difficult emotion, start with the not so difficult. And also, along the path, first you acquire intellectual with the bone intellectual, and only then with the stained. So it's from the. So I don't know how to understand the advice of Jetson Kappa when he says get rid first with the most difficult one disturbs you?
No, it's like when you wash your clothes. When you wash your clothes, first you are able to get rid of the most grosser level of darts. In that sense. In that sense. Not small, the big ones. The big darts will go first, you know. You will be able to remove the big darts first. Ones. Then you wash, and still there may be very some subtle stain. Then you have to work very hard. So those that are in the form of imprints are very difficult to remove. One reason. The second reason is first you deal with those afflictive emotions which has a predominant presence, because they are going to destroy you first. The smaller afflictive emotions may not affect you much right now. What is really bothering you and troubling you and making your life miserable is this afflictive emotions which have a predominant presence within you. For example, if you are a very angry person, if you don't deal with this first, it might destroy your family. So definitely. So big afflictive emotion basically means the grosser. The grosser, it really is saying the same thing. Those afflictive emotions which are easy to notice. Easy to notice. No questions? How come you have no questions?
The speechless.
If you have no question, then I will teach you a slogan. Slogan. When you fight against afflictive emotions, you need to make this slogan. The time you destroyed me is a time gone now. You afflictive emotions, the time you destroyed me is a time gone now. You destroyed me because at that time I did not have the knowledge. Now I know who you are. Where are you going to hide? And how are you going to cheat me? In whatever way you come, I will catch hold of you. I know you, as I said earlier, just like being able to recognize the face of person among a huge crowd. So now I know you, anger. In whatever form you will come, I will catch you. I know you, attachment. In whatever form you will come, I will catch you. Now you cannot cheat me. Now you cannot fool me. That is the slogan.
Amen.
Huh? Good slogan? Yeah.
I remember I had the question that I thought of at home.
Yeah.
Maras. For Maras. Why are they put like this to the sex, right?
Yeah. Yeah, afflictive emotion. Yeah.
But it's not only the emotion,
Yeah.
it's also the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way to put the second truth like this is the
Second truth, yeah, it may, while you explain the afflictive emotion, you can explain that, but basically here, these four are called evil forces. Evil forces, not in the sense of being a person, but in the sense of being very obstructive. Very obstructive. Anybody that harms you, you call that evil force or enemy, something else. evil forces. It's not necessarily, but they force. Why do you inflict emotions evil force? Because they are obstructing your progress, your peace, your happiness. So therefore, afflictive emotion is an evil force, which we all now have discussed in detail. Then the death is an evil force because it shortens your life. Then the psychophysical aggregate, as I said earlier, is an evil force. In the course of this psychophysical, the state of this psychophysical aggregate, that you are not able to do many things which you want to do because there is a limitation. It's restricting you in that sense. Okay. Then the fourth is called the son of the mother or something. So which is again an evil force that may be in the form of a person that may be obstructing you, your practice in that case also.
It's not only also attachment to nice, it's attachment, but also in meditation, in practice. The Vakuta, right? The son of the Mara.
Mm.
Also, when in meditation, there is nice.
Yeah, yeah. It comes in the form of like when Buddha was meditating, almost achieving light, they were very disturbed and Jali tried. At one point, they came as very sinking and sinking to distract him, but could not place it. And they forces, armies and weapons and so forth to uh, throwing the weapons at him and so forth. That also he could. So basically, like again, we are saying that three poisons.
I
Yes.
have a question about terminology.
Yeah.
The Four Noble Truths.
Yeah.
Does the word noble refers to the truth or
No.
the perceivers?
Perceiver. Noble refers to Arya, not only ordinary people. The noble refers to Arya, one who has achieved the path of seeing. Because these four noble truths are truths. Because the Aryas have seen this, those who have achieved the path of seeing, they are able to see this truth as it is. Not ordinary people. We can just say four noble truths, but we are not so sure how true it is. But the Aryas are able to see this truth. Therefore, it's called for Arya truths, for noble truths. No questions? No observations? No remarks?
Thank you a lot.
Huh?
You need to absorb.
You need to absorb. So we got there.
Geshe.